into a green zone of lesser rain and wind, though it may not feel like that, and then you're going to get the eye wall that is going over Marco Island.
Well, the National Hurricane Center just sent out a note that said that we should expect to make the storm surge to be coming in the next couple of hours, and that if anybody, and that would be either a looky-loo or a reporter, was making the gamble to think that they should be along the coast, they should absolutely get out. We retreated some time ago where, as you noted, on the 4th story of a parking garage, we're 3 blocks in from, or maybe a little bit more, city blocks, I'd say 3 city blocks from the coast, so we should be able to look over and see the storm surge when it comes in. I gotta say, the winds have been picking up. At times, it hurts, not my hand when I hold it here, but actually through my jacket there, I can feel it. They're like little BBs shooting at me right now. The winds, when they turn, will start coming from the other direction once we see this eye wall. I think Bill said we might see it at about 1/4 past, so we're basically standing by for that. Naples, Marco Island, no electricity. You know what? I can feel the wind shifting right now. It was so strong here, and I just felt that one come on my right shoulder. So we're beginning to feel the shift already. Marco Island, no electricity. I did get a chance to speak to the fire chief down there, Chief Murphy. He said that they have not received any emergency calls, but they have received calls. And they're going to make a calculation when that eye is there, because when the eye passes, if it comes over and there's this little momentary brief calmness, they may send some teams out, some firefighters and paramedics out to those who made the call, but they do not know whether they're going to do that until they're actually in that moment. It's a very, very tough call to make, because the eye doesn't last very long. When it's moving, I think we're reporting now at 12 miles an hour.
Kerry, stand by.
I guess it's just going to get worse.
Bill is at the map. We'll see if we can get the best possible projection to see if you're going to have the luxury of spending any time in that eye.
This little break, 8 miles now from the northern eye wall, where it really gets intense. That's the little break in Naples, and that's really about it. What we were waiting to see is Marco Island going to be fortunate enough to get a break and come in here? Again, yeah, the reason we're concentrating on the eye now is because the storm surge hasn't begun. As soon as we start to get our tide data on the coast, and we have those gauges up and down the coast, as soon as we start to hear that surge is coming on shore, we're going to start focusing more on that than the wind, because that's going to be the more deadly thing than the wind. Right now, the wind is the biggest concern for life and property. In about 2 hours, that changes dramatically. So here's the eye here, and you can see that, it's been drifting even a little further north. So maybe, Kerry, maybe you will get a break, and maybe we will get you in that eye. It's going to be close, but you can already see the southern tip here, just south of Marco Island, this area in here. This is already trying to almost get into the eye. This is the eye right here. There's Marco Island. So that would be nice, Brian, to give them a little bit of a break. Won't make much difference with the storm surge on the backside, though.
So, Kerry, there you have it.
There's an interesting... I was going to say, there's an interesting photograph, and I don't know whether you have it available just at this moment, but I know you can bring it up shortly. It's a photograph taken in an area that's sometimes is referred to in Naples Bay, and there's a sailboat there that is actually sitting on its keel, and the water has all gone out. It's a very dramatic example of how the wind coming from the east coast to the west has pushed the water out. And the reason it's such an important photograph to understand is we are pretty close to high tide here, and the water is gone. What is going to happen, as Bill has been reporting here, is when we get the wind from the other side, we will then see the opposite effect of all the water being pushed out. That's when that storm surge will come in. So when I saw that picture, I was like, wow, that is a great demonstration of what we're talking about with the wind pushing the water in two directions.
Yeah,
we're offshore, then onshore.
We're looking at it right now, Kerry. A sailing vessel on its keel. That's in one of the many canals with what the city council chair guessed was about a 4-foot seawall on the side. Very frightening, very eerie, especially when you consider the net gain of water they are going to get
and
from...
how fast. So we're saying 10 to 15 feet of storm surge, but the water's already 5 feet lower now than... So if you're just watching the water, you're thinking to yourself, the eye is almost here, and where's the storm surge they were talking about? And then that area is going to go up 15 feet, like suddenly, as soon as the wind shifted on the backside, we're going to be able to witness that live on television. And I'm trying to think. Ike happened at night with that horrendous storm surge. I'm trying to remember with Katrina. That was pretty much in the early evening. We had some idea it was happening, but we didn't really have daylight pictures of it. I mean, this may go in the history books as one of the worst examples of storm surge with a landfalling hurricane.
I just want to show you the southern wall. This southern eye wall is really dropping back. It's like the interior eye wall is going to retreat to the next wall up.
Yeah, there's a good deal of there's on the satellite there. We'd have to go back over here to the tracking computer, but what Brian is talking about is this is the northern eye, and when the hurricane was really healthy, these thunderstorms wrapped all the way around it. That's when it was a Cat 5. Right now, it has lost some of its oomph, and it's not quite as strong. It's still a major hurricane Cat 3 about to make landfall here in southwest Florida. But this backside here has sucked in a little dry air that was over the Gulf, and that has eroded the thunderstorms. And actually, not even picking up rain right now on the southern side. The northern edge is the very heavy rain and the strong winds. The southern edge, you'll still have strong winds. It just won't be the pouring rain and like the thunderstorms that you're now getting with that northern eye as we track it to the north. And I'm sure everyone in Fort Myers, I'm sure the winds are starting to get your attention here too. And here's our latest image of where the eye is located. You can see how close it is right along the coast here. And you can see how the brightest reds are the strongest, heaviest rain, and that'll actually bring down to the surface some of the stronger wind gusts. So that's happening now from Everglades City over to Marco Island, and now we're starting to head that towards Cary. And Cary is about 1 hour away from getting into this band and the strongest winds they've seen. But you don't want to ignore the wind, because obviously that's a huge thing. But once you start getting on the backside here, this is where the winds start to shift, Brian, and this is where the problem is. The water from the Gulf is going to be pushed towards the coast.
Yeah, we're thinking of our friends on Marco Island right now, and later Naples, Florida. Another break for us. We're back with our live update on the progress and course of Hurricane Irma.
It's probably coming up in excess of 15 feet. Because then we not only drive that water right up against the coast, but we drive that water into every one of those canals and every one of those communities.
Things completely gave way because conditions are worsening by the minute. I don't know if you can appreciate just how these concretes were yanked from the earth right now. These are some pretty big concrete.
If I need to, I can literally lay down here. And that could happen later in the day as we see what happens with the storm. But again, the winds are going to change direction, and they're going to come from, let me get myself in position here, they're going to come from that way soon. How about that, Gus? Boy, that'll take it out of you.
A global citizen finds a way to contribute. A global citizen brings about change. At MSNBC, we're global citizens, and we invite you to join us. Download the Global Citizen app and take action to provide people around the globe with the food, water, healthcare, and education they need. And when you do, you'll earn points for tickets to September's Global Citizen Festival in New York City.
Be a global citizen.
For freedom.
For justice, for all. Fries for 316, please. Thank you.
David, what's going on? Oh, hey. That's it? Yeah.
Everybody, 2 seconds.
Dear Sebastian, after careful consideration of your application, it is with great pleasure that we offer our congratulations on your acceptance.
Through the Tuition Assistance Program, every day McDonald's helps more people go to college. It's part of our commitment to being America's best first job.
Managing blood sugar is a series of smart choices. And when you replace one meal or snack a day with Lucerna, made with carb steady to help minimize blood sugar spikes, you can really feel it. Now with 30% less carbs and sugars. Lucerna.
But once the wind shifts and Irma goes by, and the winds back off, that surge is allowed to go back off. So it's a brief but very, very intense push of water, okay? And then it goes back out, but it does its damage at that point. The water comes up, there are waves on top of that driven by the winds, and that's what chews everything up, okay? So the water comes up, the waves on top, then start battering everything. That's how you get your damage. Right now in Naples, extreme wind warning. Here comes the eye. It's on its way. Be prepared for it. Shelter in place at this point. Stay with us. More live coverage of Irma when we come back.
When you schedule with Safe Flight Autoglass, you get time for more life. This family wanted to keep the game going.
Hey, Mom, one more game?
With Safe Flight, you get a text when we're on our way. You can see exactly when we'll arrive.
Sure. Bring it.
I'm Michael with Safe Flight,
Thanks for coming. It's right over here.
giving you a few more minutes for what matters most.
Take care.
Bye. Safe Flight Repair, Safe Flight Replace.
Need deep, long-lasting pain relief? Try Salonpas Deep Relieving Gel. 3 powerful medicines penetrate and treat pain for up to 8 hours. Need faster relief? Try Salonpas Jet Spray. Works on contact, freezing pain fast. Salonpas.
As Irma's path continues, there is one place to turn to and to trust. Taking you to the front lines, keeping you ahead of the storm. Experts breaking down the science behind the system, tracking every possible path.
Follow the weather channel. They're tracking exactly where the storm's going to be.
Whether we're getting you through it or taking you to it, trust in the Weather Channel.
A hurricane warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 75 degrees with rainy conditions. This afternoon, bands of heavy rain containing strong gusty winds at times, high 77. Tonight, tropical storm conditions likely, periods of heavy rain and windy, low 76. Here's our 7-day outlook.
You totaled your brand new car. Nobody's hurt, but there will still be pain. It comes when your insurance company says they'll only pay 3/4 of what it takes to replace it. What are you supposed to do? Drive 3/4 of a car? Now, if you had Liberty Mutual new car replacement, you get your whole car back. I guess they don't want you driving around on 3 wheels. Smart.
With Liberty Mutual new car replacement, we'll replace the full value of your car. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
I'm only in my 60s. I've got a nice long life ahead. Big plans. So when I found out Medicare doesn't pay all my medical expenses, I got a Medicare supplement insurance plan.
If you're eligible for Medicare, you may know it only covers about 80% of your Part B medical expenses. The rest is up to you. Call now and find out about an AARP Medicare supplement insurance plan insured by United Healthcare Insurance Company. Like all standardized Medicare supplement insurance plans, it could save you in out-of-pocket medical costs. Call now to request your free decision guide.
I've been with my doctor for 12 years. Now I know I'll be able to stick with them.
You'll be able to visit any doctor or hospital that accepts Medicare patients. Plus, there are no networks and virtually no referrals needed. See why millions of people have already enrolled in the only Medicare supplement insurance plans endorsed by AARP. Don't wait. Call now.
Looking for balance in your digestive system? Try Align Probiotic. For a non-stop, sweet treat goodness, hold on to your tiara kind of day. Get 24/7 digestive support with Align, the #1 doctor-recommended probiotic.
That thing you do every day, it's your thing. And it matters to you. And to the people who rely on you. That's why you rely on your network. It's the foundation of the enterprise.
We are Spectrum Enterprise, and we deliver the network and cloud services vital to your enterprise. Our nationwide fiber network is reliable, it's scalable, it's designed to meet your company's ever-expanding technology needs. And now, it's more accessible than ever before. Our cloud services provide the IT infrastructure you need, and our experts work with you. We get to know your business. Then, we design and deliver the right solution for the job. So your clients, customers, and employees can rely on you. And you can keep doing your thing. Because that thing you do every day, it matters. Spectrum Enterprise.
We've got a team of experts that are lined up here in Florida. And of course, they've got an Army personnel back at the Weather Channel.
Trust in the Weather Channel.
Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Mike Seidel. This is downtown Miami. This is the Brickell section of Miami. Brickell is right up here on Southeast 12th. And this is what happens when you have a hurricane. And the pounding east wind is still gusting upwards of 80 miles an hour, blowing the bay right into the downtown area. You can see here the water's about 2 feet. And the entire area is underwater. And the wind is still howling up the street. I've got some protection here, but you can see the force of the wind here. We did have a gust of 93 miles an hour at a buoy just south of here, and we've had plenty of hurricane-force wind gusts since late this morning. We were down at the Brickell Key area, but we had to get out of there because the surge is coming up. Okay, this is where the sidewalk starts and ends, and this is the road. So this is the edge of the sidewalk right here, and then I step down into the road. So we've got about 2.5 feet of water in the street, and it goes all the way around here. I don't know how far it goes, if it goes down to the Miami River. Now, earlier it was down about 2 blocks, but the surges come up even higher with these persistent winds. Again, the wind is still howling right down the area, down the street. I can barely see the water up there because we're getting so much blow-off of the wind picking up the water and blowing the rain on the surface right in my direction. This is pretty amazing stuff. Now remember, we had forecasted a 10-foot surge, and then we cut the value in half because of the track of the storm. So can you imagine another 4, 5, 6 feet of water being up here? Now, as far as the hotel goes, they've got everybody in the grand ballroom, and they're serving us breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The elevator's been turned off just in case the power goes out. So far, it hasn't gone out. What I can tell you about power is 80% of Florida Power Lake customers in Miami-Dade are without power, and almost 2/3 in Broward. That's the county, next county up the coast. And to combine the numbers between the two counties, you get about 1.4 million plus or minus customers without power. That's customers, that's not the number of people. So 80% of Miami-Dade without power. The power, though, is on here in the Brickell section, the financial district. Now, granted, it's all underground, and that helps a little bit, but that doesn't matter sometimes when this water gets into the underground area. Look at the wind howling out here behind me on Brickell. Wow. I mean, the whole downtown area now is just like a giant lake with waves and wakes. What we're waiting for now is the wind to turn around and come in from the west. And that's going to happen in an hour or so. The storm is going to get north of our latitude, and we'll start to get a wind that's going to come in from that direction. And that will start to flow the water back out. As some people ask me if they can get out of here tomorrow, and certainly this water is going to be gone by tomorrow morning. And the wind is going to back off later on tonight and first thing tomorrow morning as the hurricane continues to move north faster and weaken. Let's go to Mike Bettis, who's getting a pretty good storm himself over there in the Naples area. Mike, what's the latest over there on the west coast, where you're much closer to the eye than we are here in Miami?
I believe we've lost connection with Mike Bettis at the moment. Again, this very strong winds now moving in. We're seeing gusts into the Naples area of 70 miles per hour where Mike Bettis is. But right now we want to bring in storm tracker Mark Suddick. He is in Marco Island. And Mark, we're seeing right now the eye wall coming into that region. Are you with us? Can you tell us what you're seeing?
Yes, well, lucky for me, I am not in Marco Island, but technology that I created is on my behalf. I'm actually on the turnpike headed towards Orlando, safe and sound, but the unmanned camera is on the Caxambas boat ramp in Marco Island doing what would be impossible otherwise, and that is to get extraordinary live video out to the world.
Mark, glad to hear that you are safe and sound. But yes, these images are just unbelievable. It looks like snow almost, because the near whiteout conditions here, you can barely see ahead of the pier.
That's correct, and that's going to continue for a little while longer, and then the eye could pass over, and there'll obviously be a calm and a lull, and then once the eye passes is when we are very worried about an enormous storm surge coming in, very destructive, very quickly as the onshore flow begins after the eye passage.
So prior to this, what were the conditions like that you were seeing? It's a gradual uptick of those winds and intensity, but then very quickly that eye wall came on shore and things changed, correct?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the story anywhere that this hurricane is impacted, and we were seeing that on the camera that we had down in Marathon. It was cut off prematurely from the whole network going down there, and that's to be expected. You're not going to win them all. But this one in Marco Island, and we have another one in Naples as well, showing that gradual ramping up all day, and now that the eye wall is coming in, it's going quickly.
Mark, thank you so much for joining us. Glad to hear you are safe and sound. We appreciate the images that you're giving us again. You're looking at live pictures here out of Marco Island. The wind speeds are beginning to pick up. Thank you, Mark. Yes, thank you. We appreciate it. Yes, we're seeing the wind speeds pick up now. We've got reported wind gusts of 79 miles per hour out of Fort Myers, where our storm tracker Jim Cantori is. We're seeing that extreme wind warning here still in effect for Collier County. Notice it's spread a little bit further north as well to include the Naples area, because again, that storm and the northern part of the eye wall is moving north at about 15 miles per hour. So we're seeing a bit of acceleration in that center of circulation. We anticipated that to be the case as the upper level winds start to interact here with Hurricane Irma. So this is moving very quickly onshore. We're going to take things back out to Mike Bettis now, who's live in Naples. And Mike, we're seeing those winds pick up. Things in Naples are starting to go downhill. The rain also looks like it's moving a little bit off to the side there, Mike.
Yeah, winds are now starting to pick up a little bit more. Rain's becoming a little bit more intense, and now that we're getting the approach of the eye wall, this is what we're going to expect. In fact, it's going to get a lot worse even. Anticipation of winds, they're going to gust over 100 miles an hour. We've positioned ourselves for a look down US 41 behind me here. It's a divided median, a lot of trees right down the center, a lot of trees that we think will go over. There may be portions of 41 that are impassable, right? And we think that power is going to go out in a lot of places as well. You take a look, at least right down 41, they don't have above ground power lines right here, which is great news, okay? That's fantastic, because right along the main drag, you can keep power on, or at least as far as restoration goes, it won't be a monumental project to get all the businesses right along 41 back online. You go back into some of the neighborhoods, though, that's where you've got the above ground power poles, and that's where you have the palms, that's where you have the banyans, right in those lines. In fact, they're growing right. I looked at them with a very narrow focus, okay? I was really concentrating on some of the power lines as we were driving through some of these neighborhoods. And some of the lines go right through the middle of trees. And so it's just going to take a little bit of wind, a little bit more wind to knock those over, and down come the power lines. I'm afraid that a lot of the trees may go down on homes as well. A lot of these homes have old trees in their yards, and all these trees are right at the side of the home, right in the front yard, and even just a tilting tree would do some damage to some homes. Some of the older homes haven't been built to quite the standards that some of the newer homes have been built to, or a lot of them are up higher, protected from the storm surge, and a lot of them are concrete, reinforced hurricane windows. We love to see that because that minimizes property damage. Some of the older homes, we fear, could suffer a worse fate. Some of them have long, overhangs where the wind can get up underneath. Those overhangs pull back portions of the roofs, and then water gets inside. But once you compromise the roof, you then start to compromise the wall structure, and then sometimes you can even, in some of these really intense wind gusts, get compromise of an entire home if it's not well built. But we're now going to start to get the winds really ramping up here. When that eye wall gets here, 100 mile per hour winds, I may not even be able to stand out here. We may our entire crew may have to take a complete shelter during the eye wall. If we get the eye that comes out, that will be a sight to behold, because we'll stand out here and it'll be complete calm. You might even briefly see a few patches of blue up in the sky. You know, the eye isn't totally clear right now. It's a little bit obscured right now, so you're not going to get sunshine and blue skies totally, but you may get an opportunity to see a little bit of blue skies down there. But we can take off our jackets, take off our helmets, won't be raining at all, but that's only going to last a short period of time before then the southern eye wall comes ripping through, and then you're going to get the winds that shift in from the west side. It's going to be a close call whether we get the eastern eye wall of this or whether we get just the northern and southern eye wall of this. It's going to be really, really close here in Naples, but we do know this, that serious wind is on our doorstep at this point. That eye wall is roughly 10 miles away. That's it. It's just 10 miles away. This thing is moving. I believe, Dr. Var, you said the last advisory was, well, I didn't get to check the last advisory. I think you said it was moving 14 miles an hour. So, you know, it's what? 40 minutes away, 45 minutes away at most, and then we're going to be right into the teeth of this. And Irma is really going to flex some muscle coming on shore here, but it's not going to be just Naples then. Next in line is going to be Fort Myers. After that, it's St. Pete and Tampa, right? And we may have really significant issues in the Tampa area, especially with the backside of the wall, backside of the eye, as that surge becomes a big issue for us here. And we even, you know, Dr. Navarro, we were talking with Senator Bill Nelson, and he said that was his biggest concern, how big of an impact water is going to have on the Tampa area, because, you know, as bad as the winds will get, you know, the water just becomes a completely different animal.
Absolutely, Mike, and it's been nearly a century since they had a direct hit there with a major hurricane, so this is a very big deal for many people here along the western coast of Florida. We're showing you the impacts now coming in from the Fort Myers and the Naples area, and Mike, you're right, that eye wall is moving off to the north at about 15 miles per hour, so near you, we'll be seeing those effects come in very shortly. Within the next hour or two, things will definitely start picking up where you are. Likely going to be seeing some heavier rainfall coming down as well.
Hey, Dr. Navarro, I haven't had a real good chance recently to take a look at that radar. Do you think we are northern eye wall, and maybe we get a little eye here in Naples, and then southern eye wall, or do you think we may end up getting more into the eastern part of that eye wall here?
Yeah, Mike, great question. We've got the radar up right now, and if you take a look, that clear area, that's where the center is, and it looks like that storm is going to be coming right over you in Naples. If it continues moving off to the north, you're likely going to get the northern, perhaps touch just to the northwest there of the eye wall. There's a lot of lightning associated with this. The higher reflectivity values are off to your east, but that eye may very well come over you in the next hour or so.
It's going to be surreal to go from, you know, just wind blasted to absolutely nothing. But that is going to be something to see here in Naples. That opportunity, though, may be short-lived because, Dr. Navarro, how big is that eye? How big around is that eye? And then we could get some pretty intense winds on the south side. But give me an idea of what you think the winds on the south side of this storm will be.
Yeah, Mike, great question. Although, yes, the northern side of that eye wall is definitely where we're going to see those biggest winds. If we just do a rough estimate here on the radar, the eye is about maybe 20 miles across. So still, we're seeing a little bit of changes here as that storm is going through some structural changes, interacting with the land. But we're still likely going to be seeing very strong winds on the south side, easily into the hurricane force range. But the northern side is really going to be the big punch. Winds of 115 miles per hour for sure. Likely going to be gusting higher than that. We were watching here. The Naples radar looks like, or at least what was reporting for our winds here, is no longer reporting. So likely the strong winds there are taking out the instruments, and we're no longer getting readings out of Naples.
Yeah. Yeah, I just take a rudimentary measurement, you know, here with my handheld anemometer. Not nearly, I don't think, as accurate as we get with the ASOS system. So gusting about 44 right there. Winds are steadily over 25 right now. But again, sometimes you'll get, you know, a decent wind, and then you'll get a gust that'll come in, and that gust can be 20, 25 miles an hour higher than the sustained wind that you're seeing. And it's really those brief, intense punches of gusts that cause most of your issues. When we look down 41 here. I mean, so far so good. I like what I'm seeing so far, okay? This is a good sign. We don't have a lot of trees that have gone down yet. I got one tiny palm here, okay? There's no traffic, so I don't, not a big deal running across the street here. But, you know, you look at it. This is it. One tiny palm tree here. You know, this thing is about, you know, at the base, maybe 6 inches in diameter. That's it. Then everything else is standing. We got palm fronds that are down. You know, some of the big mature palms are in much better shape. And they generally can take a lot of wind because they're not big wind catchers, just skinny trunks, right? All the wind grabs them at the top. And so that becomes where maybe you get a little bit top-headed. But a lot of those palm fronds will just rip right off, and you're left with just a trunk. And eventually, when the hurricane is over, you know, those palms get an opportunity to regrow. But the other trees that we're worried about, you know, you get the live oaks, you get the banyans, you know, you get some, you know, the beautiful Spanish moss. I mean, it's just beautiful trees that they have here. But I think at this point, Dr. Navarro, it's a foregone conclusion with the serious wind that's about to come in here momentarily, that this picture, truly in a matter of minutes, may change pretty dramatically.
Absolutely, Mike. We've been watching the video out of San Marco Island, or Marco Island, excuse me, and within a matter of minutes, the visibility dropped completely to near whiteout conditions. So you're seeing Mike Bettis now just on the brink of what is to come with that eye wall moving off to the north. Here's what I was referring to earlier. Out of Naples, we're no longer reporting here the wind gusts because likely the instrument may have failed with the strong winds coming into that area. So again, the situation is current and imminent here for people or the area in Naples. I hope people have left the area by now with the threats that we are considering. We're also seeing wind gusts here into Miami of 80 miles per hour. Things just are not letting up in that area. Even all along the southeastern side of Florida, we're seeing hurricane force winds there moving in. So this is a very big storm with multiple threats. The tropical storm force wind field now extends nearly 220 miles from the center. So that is a very big wind field, a very big storm that we are now dealing with and looking like it is coming onshore as we speak. So here we go. Here's a forecast of the winds taking you forward in time. This is this evening, that center of circulation coming up now north of Fort Myers. And we will be seeing that onshore flow here continuing throughout most of southeastern Florida. So again, that's going to bring up the storm surge threat here. I believe, yes, sir. My weather producer here is giving me the very latest information. We now have a 130 mile per hour wind gust being reported in Marco Island. So very strong winds. It's a Category 4 strength wind nearly. Greg, correct me on that if I'm wrong, but a very strong wind gust there moving into the area. And so we want to bring in now our storm tracker, Jim Cantori. Jim, incredible wind speeds right now being recorded. That center of circulation is moving onshore.
Yeah, hey, Dr. Navarro, I wanted to ask you something about what's going on, but between I'm in Estero, Fort Myers, if you will, then down, of course, is Bonita Springs, Bettis, in Naples, and then down toward Marco, where they're dealing with that inner eye wall, the most important, strongest part of this thing. Do you think that because we had a double eye wall structure, that we've gotten a little bit of a break? I actually think the winds have calmed a little bit here. A little bit. Is that because of this double eye wall or just some internal structures things going on?
Wow, Jim, yeah, that's a great point. We saw that double eye wall structure yesterday. That likely helped us out a little bit here because it probably weakened that inner core more so than it otherwise would have been, which, I mean, the effects here are still catastrophic, but that could have been a lot worse. So, yeah, Jim, you could be right. Again, I'd love to look at it in more detail, in the future to see what really happened. But we're seeing things like the dry air also being worked into the circulation as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so something to deal with, obviously, a Monday morning quarterback in this thing. Guys, you know what's really weird? I mean, here we are again at the yard and residents in Estero. Every parking lot spot is full. What I can hear a little bit off in the distance already, we haven't had hurricane force gusts yet in any way, shape, or form. But I can hear car alarms going off. Because remember, those car alarms are going to be sensitive to push. If you go up and try and break into a car, the alarms are going to go off, right? So if the wind is pushing them and rocking them and rolling, we're going to have alarm. It's going to be like a serenade of car alarms out here in this parking lot, certainly. But here's the deal. Just because we may have a little bit of a lull does not mean that's going to last forever. We're going to get into the eye wall of this thing. Bennis is just about to get into it. Marco's getting crushed. If you're just joining us, again, 130 there. 130 with the gust. Now, even though, we've got a Cat 3 in terms of sustained, we're getting gusts up over Cat 3. And it's really those gusts, those pushes of that magnitude that do a tremendous amount of the damage. So, you're taking wind, you're taking steady, sustained winds, and all of a sudden, boom, here comes the gust, just whacking you across the face. So, guys, we're going to deal with this thing as best as we can. Rain is definitely heavier. That definitely has not let up. I think Marco's going to get in the eye. I think Naples is going to get in the eye. There's going to be a calm. And one of the things I want to correct, Dr. Navarro, jump in here with me on this. I think when the wind's calm, we're going to have water coming back in, right? It doesn't necessarily just have to change direction because we know it's going to calm in spots. If you're not getting any more of a push of the water out, it's got to come back in. So when you're in the calm, you better be out of the water. You better be out of the water because it's going to come rushing back in even before it changes directions. The change in the direction will help force it back in. And it will bring it higher, and it's the whole reason we have 30,000 people here in Lee County in shelter. All right? So that's definitely a big deal. We're taking the full brunt of this thing already now, about to make, again, a second landfall on the mainland. We had one, of course, in the Keys earlier. We're going to see another one, probably Marco Island. They're going to get into the eye. It's going to be amazingly calm there, but don't be fooled. Wind's going to come right around. It's going to whip that water right in toward Naples. Again, guys, a lot of tree limbs blowing around, a lot of debris here, but no structural damage from what we can see at this time, and that is obviously a very, very good thing. Hopefully that'll continue to be the case, but remember, we're probably about, I'm going to say an hour after Mike gets it in Naples, we're probably going to get maybe 45 minutes to an hour, depending on if it accelerates or not. So Marco, again, getting it now, the beast of the eye wall, getting absolutely hammered down there. You're going to get in the eye as Naples goes into the eye wall. All right, and we'll eventually get into the eye wall as Naples gets into the eye. So it's going to be pretty much layered in that direction. But when that wind stops, you better be out of the water. You better be out of the water, and I hope everybody is. I hope everybody heeded those evacuations. All right, guys, we're going to keep you posted here, obviously, from Fort Myers. We've got you covered. We've got crew station all across Florida. Again, that's why we kept our crews on the East Coast. You saw what Mike Seidel is showing us in Miami right now. We've got water, surge in downtown Miami as a result of that persistent onshore flow. As a matter of fact, they've had some of the highest gusts near 100 miles per hour at Miami International. So tremendous there. We've had
Thinking. The Hurricane Spin Broom is whisper quiet and swivels in and around furniture quick and easy with no cords and no batteries. The secret's the triple brush technology that uses centrifugal force combined with a rotating action to sweep up everything in its path. Just push to empty in the trash, your hands never touch the mess. And the Spin Broom has a mega mouth that's big enough to pick up a ham sandwich. Look at that! The giant corner brushes clean along baseboards and toe kicks with no scuffing and no scratching. Use it on tile, wood, even vinyl. It gets into the grout lines, leaving nothing behind. And the full flat handle lets you easily reach and clean under furniture. Watch this. Even little shards of broken glass are no match for the Spin Broom. And it's so easy to use, kids can and will use it. Plus, you can rinse it clean and it stores practically anywhere. Vacuums are heavy, and the old way is back-breaking work. And stop chasing around the line from a dustpan and broom. Call now to get the original Hurricane Spin Broom for just $19.99. Put order right now, and you can double the offer. Plus, get our Sticky Buddy, the reusable sticky roller that picks up pet hair and lint and washes clean in seconds. Just pay a separate fee. So get your special offer Hurricane Spin Broom for just $19.99. Here's how to order.
Call 1-800-668-6891 to get your Hurricane Spin Broom. Call or visit myspinbroom.com. So call 1-800-668-6891. That's 1-800-668-6891. Deluxe version available. Order now.
You're watching the Weather Channel. Continued coverage. We've got a team of experts that are lined up here in Florida. And of course, they've got an Army personnel back in the Weather Channel. People working around the clock to give you and your friends, your family, the information you need to keep you and your community safe.
Whether we're doing it through it, taking it to trust.
So the biggest stage happened right here on Spectrum Sports, home of high school sports. What you live for lives here. With more than 150 regular and postseason games live.
The Tigers rolling through Class 5A.
Spectrum Sports, the only local channel dedicated to covering high school student athletes and coaches. Spectrum Sports, home of high school sports, and exclusively on Spectrum. For the first warning of severe weather, turn to News 13.
We are tracking a severe thunderstorm warning.
With Storm Tracker 13, part of the largest digital Doppler network in the Southeast.
Open for a closer inspection.
The News 13 weather experts bring you forecasts that are clear and easy to understand every 10 minutes.
Showers beginning to really slow down.
When it comes to technology, team, and time, only News 13 delivers now. Exclusively on Spectrum.
As Irma's path continues, there is one place to turn to and to trust. Trust in the Weather Channel.
A hurricane warning is in effect. Currently in our area, 75 degrees with rainy conditions. Tonight, tropical storm conditions likely. Periods of heavy rain and windy. Low 76. Monday, tropical storm conditions likely. Windy with rain showers. High 82. Here's our 7-day outlook.
Welcome back to our continued coverage here of Hurricane Irma on the Weather Channel. New video in showing you the storm surge coming into Miami, Florida. Downtown Miami experiencing rushing water now with that rising level coming in and with the strong onshore winds moving into the region. You're seeing here on your screen just the incredible winds pushing those palm trees there off. And it's just amazing the level of water coming up here. These images showing you trees basically moving over, being nearly pushed onto their sides, and it looks like an ocean with the white caps on top of that water right now. Look at those waves coming in. This video here is showing you a construction site, or it looks like potentially here's some damage to that area. A crane, perhaps, that appears to have broken off. Just unbelievable images coming out of Miami right now. And remember, the center of Irma is well off to the west. We're seeing some wind gusts here, upwards of 100 miles per hour in the outer bands moving into Miami. And we're now taking you to Fort Lauderdale, where we're showing you some images from earlier today. And man, look at these winds just pushing off the debris there. This looks like an apartment complex that we're looking at, and things just absolutely being blown and battered by the winds of Irma in these strong outer bands. Incredible video here showing you the impacts of this major hurricane that's coming and basically moving onshore now over into the Naples area. We've seen the winds, we've seen the water coming up. You're taking a look at South Miami now, getting a better idea of these wind gusts coming in. just unreal, unbelievable. The impacts are being felt here over a very broad area. We're seeing damage coming out of Big Pine Key now, so this is, again, another part of Florida, and just water being rushed on and damage and debris being floated as the wrath of Hurricane Irma here just continues. We've seen what it's done in the Caribbean, in the Leeward Islands, in places like St. Martin. We've seen it batter down on the northern coast of Cuba, and now here is the winds of Irma moving onshore here, basically into the Naples area in the next hour or so. I appear to be having some issues here with my screenwriter. I cannot see the screen in front of me, but you're looking right now at the radar imagery showing you a potential tropical tornado here moving into the Miami area. So tornado warning here from Miami-Dade County. This storm is moving from south to north. This is moving into the downtown Miami area. We're looking at the circulation there. It looks to be off to the north of Key Biscayne, or likely in the Key Biscayne area right now. So moving off to the north here, it'll be into Miami Beach by just about 3:40, to North Miami by roughly 3:50, and then to Aventura after that. So again, some of these storms have been moving very quickly. So Jim, things over here on the eastern side are really picking up. We're seeing these fast-moving supercells coming on shore. But out where you are in Fort Myers, you're dealing with a completely different animal, as the eye wall is nearly, I would say, 40 miles to your south.
Yeah, 40 miles to our south, the northern eye wall there. So, maybe moving at 10, 15 miles an hour. We're going to probably do that in 3 hours. And again, it won't be long before Marco actually gets into the eye. All right, Marco's going to get into the eye here pretty soon after gusting to 130 miles per hour. So interesting, even though the storm has been downgraded to a Cat 3, we saw the Big Pine Key when it was a 4, gust to 120, and now you've got Marco gusting to 130. So the gusts can be a lot stronger here. The other thing, too, guys, is I'm telling you, when that water starts coming into Collier County, be on alert. It's going to come in fast and furious. I hope everybody's on the water. This is where we lose people in storm surge. And I can tell you firsthand, I saw it in Katrina, I saw it in many other hurricanes, how fast that water comes up. You can literally watch it. You can literally watch it just come right up at you. And pretty soon, if you're not, out of water, it's going to be a disaster situation. What's interesting in Key Largo, now that the winds are blowing offshore from the west, they've had the water leave them in spots. So really amazing sights all in and around the Keys just based on the wind direction. And that will be translated as well up here in the southwestern Florida. So a dangerous situation with the winds offshore. Winds calm, the water will start coming back in, and then rain will come in once we get on the other side of that eye, which will be the westerly winds moving across the water. So I have to wonder, too, with those winds coming off the water, even though the southern side is the weaker side of the storm, if we gust just as high. Our continuing coverage of Irma along the southwest coast continues.
As Hurricane Irma's path continues, there is one place to turn to and to trust. Taking you to the front lines, keeping you ahead of the storm. Experts breaking down the science behind the system, tracking every possible path.
Follow the Weather Channel, they're tracking exactly where the storm's going to be.
Whether we're getting you through it or taking you to it, trust in the Weather Channel.
I have frequent heartburn. My doctor recommended Prilosec OTC 7 years ago.
5 years ago, last week. Just one pill each morning, 24 hours, and zero heartburn.
It's been the #1 doctor recommended brand for 10 straight years, and it's still recommended today.
Use as directed.
Back in the day, our military had to rely on lanterns like these. But today, lighting technology has come a long way. Nick Bolton here with the new Tac Light Lantern from Bell & Howell. The Tac Light Lantern collapses down smaller than a smartphone and weighs less than a pound. But don't let it subside. It's twice as bright as an ordinary lantern. The secret is the genuine Bell & Howell power LEDs that are smaller, brighter, and more energy efficient than